the bases. People were still excited to see him out there. If he didn't surpass Bill Clinton or even Joe Biden, that's probably okay, given how much criticism he's taken over in recent years for being a little too lofty.
And Major, stay with me. I want to bring in Senator Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont. It's always good to have you on the program, Senator. Let me play something else from last night and get your reaction.
Now, our friends down in Tampa at the Republican convention were more than happy to talk about everything they think is wrong with America. But they didn't have much to say about how they'd make it right. They want your vote, but they don't want you to know their plan.
To continue the conversation we were having, did you hear anything new? Did you hear what you thought Barack Obama had to tell the American people?
Well, I think the point that he just made is absolutely right. We have, in a sense, a knowledge where the president is coming from, but it's important to know where the Republican Party is coming from and where Romney is coming from. And what's most important is to understand the Republican Party has become an extreme right-wing party. Their economic agenda is exactly what Bush proposed, and that is more tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires, and at the same time, they want to cut back on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, nutrition programs. At a time when we are in this recession, because of the greed and illegal behavior on Wall Street, their response is, we need more Wall Street deregulation. In terms of women's issues, they have come up with the unbelievable position that if a woman is raped, they need a constitutional amendment to say that that woman may not have an abortion, even if her life is at stake. So I think the contrast is pretty clear. We know, in a sense, after 4 years, where Obama is coming from. What the Republicans have become now is a party which represents millionaires and billionaires and a right-wing extremist base.
You know, last night, the other thing we heard a lot about, and there was a lot of criticism from the Democrats against Mitt Romney that he didn't mention Afghanistan. We heard a lot of focus on the military and foreign policy. Since you're on the Veterans Affairs Committee, I want to play for you a couple of clips that we heard last night.
My opponent and his running mate are new to foreign policy. Oh, you don't call Russia our #1 enemy. Not Al-Qaeda, Russia. Unless you're still stuck in a Cold War mind warp. You might not be ready for diplomacy with Beijing if you can't visit the Olympics without insulting our closest ally.
Ask Osama bin Laden if he is better off now than he was 4 years ago.
Some great lines, Senator Sanders. Will they matter to voters?
I think they will. Look, we are now ending the war in Afghanistan. The war in Iraq is over. Our troops are home. But I think the point that Obama and Biden both made is that a lot of men and women came home from those wars wounded in body, wounded in spirit. We have a moral obligation to make sure that they get the benefits and the health care that they are entitled to. And it really was pretty amazing that Mr. Romney forgot to talk about the men and women who sacrificed in fighting those wars.
Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you so much for being with us. And let me go back to Major and Ann. And Ann, when did the Democrats become